Hello, my dear dreamer. It's so good to see you here again. Welcome to a quiet corner of the wizarding world, one where the candles glow soft, the castle breathes in its sleep, and time moves just slowly enough for you to catch your breath. Tonight, we're not chasing dragons or racing to stop the next great evil. No, tonight, you're simply a young wizard at Hogwarts, waking to the hush of morning mist curling around the towers, the distant chime of breakfast bells, and the promise of a perfectly ordinary, perfectly peaceful day. Maybe you've been longing for a place like this, a refuge of warm stone halls, whispering portraits, and the gentle magic of everyday life. Whether you once dreamed of your Hogwarts letter arriving by owl, or you're discovering these halls for the first time, you belong here. So go ahead, sink into your favorite armchair, pull a knitted blanket up to your shoulders, and let the noise of the world fade away. There's no rush, no deadlines, no expectations, just the soft creak of floorboards, the scent of old books, and the quiet companionship of a story that walks beside you. And if this little haven brings you comfort, the kindest way to support the channel is with a like and a subscribe. It helps others find their way here too when they need a place to rest. Now, take a slow breath in, and as you let it out, the air smells like rain and pumpkin vines, and your cozy day begins. The first thing you notice before you even open your eyes is the rain. Soft, steady, a gentle tapping against glass somewhere above you. Not the harsh drumming of a storm, no, but something quieter, something that sounds like patience. Like the sky itself has decided to settle in for the day, wrapping the castle in a blanket of mist and drizzle that will last until nightfall, maybe longer. You lie there, still mostly asleep, wrapped in something warm and heavy. A quilt, perhaps, or maybe two. The kind that's been folded and refolded so many times, it's soft as a sigh. The weight of it presses down on you gently, like a hand on your shoulder, telling you there's no rush. There's never any rush here. Somewhere far below, you can hear the castle waking. Not loudly, never loudly, just stirring. A door closing softly down a corridor. The distant creak of old wood settling into itself. The faint echo of footsteps on stone, muffled by tapestries and time. Hogwarts never truly sleeps, you've learned. It breathes, it shifts, it hums with a life all its own, ancient and patient and kind. You open your eyes. The ceiling above you is lost in shadow, the heavy curtains of your four-poster bed still drawn. Through a gap where they don't quite meet, you can see a sliver of pale grey light. Dawn, but only just. The kind of dawn that hasn't yet decided whether to fully arrive or to linger a while longer in the in-between. You take a breath. The air is cool, but not cold. It carries with it the scent of stone and dust and something else, something green. Maybe it's the ivy that climbs the outer walls, or the moss that grows between the courtyard stones, or simply the smell of a place that has stood for centuries, gathering rain and time in equal measure. You don't move yet. There's no need. Instead, you listen. The rain continues its soft percussion. Tap, tap, tap. A rhythm without urgency. You can hear it most clearly against the windows, but it's everywhere really. Soaking into the stones, filling the gutters, trickling down into the lake far below. You imagine it running along the towers, pooling in the crevices of gargoyles, dripping from the beaks of carved owls. Somewhere, A clock chimes, low and resonant. 6 bells, or maybe 7. It doesn't matter. Time moves differently here. You've noticed that. Minutes stretch like honey, hours fold into themselves, and mornings are especially slow. You reach out from beneath the quilts, your hand finding the curtain. The fabric is heavy, velvet maybe, and cool to the touch. You pull it back, just a little, and more light spills in. Grey light, soft light, the kind that doesn't wake you harshly, but invites you gently into the day. Your dormitory is quiet. The other beds are still curtained, their occupants lost in sleep, or perhaps just savouring the warmth as you are. A single candle burns low on a windowsill, its flame barely a flicker, as if it too is reluctant to fully wake. The shadows it casts are long and lazy, stretching across the floor like cats. You sit up slowly, the quilts slip from your shoulders, and the cool air touches your skin. Not unpleasant, just present. A reminder that you're here, that you're awake, that the day is waiting. Your slippers are beside the bed, exactly where you left them. They're soft, lined with something woolen and warm, and when you slide your feet into them, it feels like stepping into a hug. The floor beneath is stone, smooth and cool even through the fabric, and as you stand, you can feel the solidity of it. The castle holding you up. The castle always holding you up. You move toward the window. It's a tall window, arched at the top, with panes of leaded glass that distort the world beyond into something dreamlike. Rain streaks down in wandering paths, blurring the view of the grounds below, but you can still make out shapes. The dark line of the forbidden forest in the distance, the pale glimmer of the lake, its surface dimpled by raindrops, the greenhouses, their glass roofs catching what little light there is and holding it like secrets. You stand there for a while, watching, breathing. The rain is hypnotic in its constancy. It doesn't change, doesn't falter, it simply is. And again, you listen. To the rain, to the silence underneath the rain, to your own breath, slow and steady, mingling with the rhythm of the morning. There's something peaceful in this moment, something that asks nothing of you. You are simply here, standing at the window, watching the world wake, slowly, reluctantly, as if it too needs permission to begin. The dormitory behind you remains still. You can hear, very faintly, the sound of someone breathing deeply in sleep, the rise and fall of it, the way it blends with the rain, becoming part of the same song. Everything here moves to the same gentle tempo. Everything here knows there's time enough for everything. After a time, though how much time, you couldn't say, you turn away from the window and begin to dress. Your robes are draped over a chair, and they're still warm from yesterday, or perhaps from the charm you placed on them before bed. You're not sure. Either way, they feel like comfort as you pull them on, layer by layer. First, the soft shirt, smooth against your skin, the fabric worn and familiar. Then the heavier outer robe, its weight settling on your shoulders like a reassuring hand. And then the cloak that fastens at your throat with a small silver clasp, cold for just a moment before it warms to your touch. Each piece settles into place like a familiar ritual. The shirt tucked in just so. The robe adjusted until it falls correctly. The clasp fastened with a soft click that seems loud in the quiet of the dormitory. You're in no hurry. Each movement is deliberate, mindful, a small meditation in itself. You tie your shoes slowly, lace by lace. The leather is soft and supple, broken in by many walks through these corridors. You can feel the way your fingers know the motion without thinking, looping and pulling, creating small knots that will hold throughout the day. There's something meditative in it, the repetition, the certainty of it. When you're done, you sit for a moment, hands resting on your knees, and simply breathe. The dormitory is still quiet. The candle has burned lower, its flame now just a small golden glow in the grey morning light. Outside, the rain continues. Always the rain, constant, soothing, a presence that wraps around the castle like a protective spell. You rise. There's a mirror near the door, old and slightly tarnished, its silvered surface spotted with age. You glance at your reflection as you pass. You look awake, rested, ready, though for what, you're not entirely sure. But that's all right. You don't need to be sure. Not here. Here, you can simply be, without purpose or plan, without expectation or obligation. You reach for the door handle. It's brass, smooth and heavy, cool beneath your palm. You turn it slowly, and the door opens with the faintest creak. A sound so familiar, it's almost comforting. The hinges have made that sound for decades, maybe centuries. How many students have opened this door? How many mornings have begun with this exact same creak? Beyond is the corridor. It stretches away in both directions, lit by a series of small glowing orbs that hover near the ceiling. They cast a gentle golden light, warm and inviting, that pools on the stone floor below. The light doesn't flicker or dance like candlelight. It simply glows, steady and sure, illuminating the way forward. Portraits line the walls, their occupants still sleeping or pretending to. One old wizard snores softly in his frame, his painted beard rising and falling with each breath. His mouth is slightly open, and occasionally he mutters something incomprehensible before settling back into silence. A witch in another portrait shifts slightly, pulling her painted shawl tighter around her shoulders, as if even in oil and canvas she can feel the morning chill. You step out and close the door behind you. The corridor is cool, but not uncomfortably so. The air smells of stone and old wood, and the faintest hint of something floral. Lavender, perhaps, from the cleaning charms that keep the castle fresh. It's a clean smell, but not harsh, gentle, like everything else here. You begin to walk. Your footsteps are soft, barely audible, muffled by the thick runner of carpet that runs down the center of the corridor. The carpet is deep blue, worn in places where countless feet have tread the same path. The stones beneath are worn smooth by centuries of feet. You can see it in the way they dip slightly in the center, polished by time and use into something almost soft. The walls on either side rise high, disappearing into shadow near the ceiling. Tapestries hang at intervals, depicting scenes from long ago, battles and celebrations, magical creatures and enchanted forests. You've studied them before, tracing the threads with your eyes, marveling at the detail, the way the weavers captured movement and emotion in wool and silk. But today, you simply walk past, acknowledging them with a glance, a small nod, like greeting old friends. You pass a window, and through it you can see the rain more clearly now. It falls in sheets, not heavy but persistent, turning the world outside into something watercolor and indistinct. The courtyard below is empty, its cobblestones dark and slick. A few puddles have formed in the low spots, reflecting the grey sky above like mirrors. The rain creates circles in them, expanding and overlapping, creating patterns that last only a moment before dissolving into new ones. You keep walking. The corridor curves gently, following the shape of the tower, and as you round the bend, you encounter your first staircase. It's a wide one, stone steps worn smooth, with an iron railing that's cold to the touch. You place your hand on it lightly, more for balance than necessity, and begin to descend. The stairs spiral downward, winding around and around, and as you walk, you can hear the rain more clearly. It echoes in the stairwell, amplified by the stone, a constant, soothing percussion that follows you down. Each step creates a soft sound, stone on stone, and you find yourself matching your pace to the rhythm of the rain. Step, 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 tap, tap, tap. A synchronized dance between you and the weather. You pass a landing, a small alcove with a window looking out over the grounds. You pause for just a moment, looking out. The rain has intensified slightly, and you can see it sweeping across the lawns in visible waves, bending the grass, filling the air with mist. It's beautiful in its relentlessness, beautiful in its simplicity. Then you continue down. Another landing. A tapestry hangs on one wall, depicting a medieval hunt, the figures frozen mid-chase, their embroidered faces forever caught in expressions of joy and determination. You've seen it 100 times, but you look at it again, as you always do. The detail never ceases to amaze you. The individual threads, the way the light catches on the gold and silver stitching, the story woven into every inch of fabric, the hounds running with their tongues out, the stag leaping through embroidered trees, the hunters on horseback, their capes flowing behind them. Down and down you go. The stairwell grows darker as you descend, the windows fewer and farther between, but the glowing orbs appear more frequently here, lighting your way with their gentle golden glow. They hum very softly, a sound so faint you're not sure if you're hearing it or imagining it. Either way, it's comforting. Finally, the staircase ends, opening into a wider corridor. This one is busier, though still quiet. A few early risers are making their way toward the great hall, their robes swishing softly as they walk. No one speaks. It's too early for words. Instead, there are nods, small smiles, the shared understanding of people who are awake when the rest of the world is still sleeping. You join the flow, moving with them, unhurried. The corridor here is wider, grander. The ceilings are higher, supported by thick stone pillars that rise like trees. The pillars are carved with intricate designs, leaves and vines, magical creatures, symbols whose meanings have been lost to time. You've tried to decipher them before, tracing the patterns with your fingers, but they remain mysteries. Beautiful mysteries. Suits of armor stand at intervals along the walls, their metal surfaces dull in the low light. One of them creaks slightly as you pass, a joint shifting, as if it too is waking. You've always wondered if there's some awareness in them, some lingering magic that makes them more than just empty metal. But they never do more than creak and shift. So perhaps it's just the castle settling, the old stones adjusting to the temperature, to the weight of centuries. The smell of breakfast begins to reach you now, faint at first, but growing stronger with each step. Bread, butter, something sweet and warm and just a little bit spiced. Cinnamon maybe, or nutmeg. Your stomach doesn't quite rumble, but it notices. A gentle reminder that the body has needs, even on quiet mornings like this. You reach the entrance to the great hall. The doors are massive, oak and iron, carved with more of those mysterious symbols. They stand open, welcoming, as they always do during mealtimes. Beyond them, the hall stretches vast and high. It's enchanted, ceiling reflecting the weather outside. Rain clouds drift across it, slow and ponderous, their grey underbellies lit occasionally by flashes of distant lightning that never make a sound. The illusion is perfect. It looks exactly like the sky outside, like there's no ceiling at all, just open air above you. The house tables are mostly empty, save for a scattering of students at each. A few Ravenclaws hunched over books, even at breakfast. A pair of Hufflepuffs chatting quietly. A lone Slytherin staring into a cup of tea as if it holds answers to questions not yet asked. The staff table is similarly sparse. It's too early for the crowd, too early for the noise and bustle. Right now, the hall belongs to the quiet ones, the ones who like their mornings slow. You make your way to your house table and sit. The bench is hard but smooth, polished by countless students over countless years. The table before you is set simply, plates and cups and silverware, all clean and waiting. And there, in the center, are platters. Warm bread, steam still rising from the loaves, their crusts golden and crackled. Butter in small crocks, yellow and soft, already beginning to melt in the warmth of the hall. Jams in glass jars, jewel bright, strawberry red, apricot orange, blackberry purple. Boiled eggs in a bowl, their shells pale and perfect. Sausages on a plate, glistening slightly. A bowl of porridge, thick and creamy, with a small pot of honey beside it, golden and viscous. You reach for a plate. The motion is slow, deliberate. Your fingers curl around the edge of the plate, cool ceramic against your skin. You lift it and set it before you. Then you reach for the bread. You choose a slice from the middle of the loaf, where it's softest, and the crust crackles softly as you pull it free. It's warm in your hands, and when you spread butter on it, the butter melts immediately, soaking into the bread, turning it golden and rich. Little pools of butter collect in the air pockets, shimmering. You take a bite. The flavor is simple, but perfect. Salt and wheat and warmth. The crust gives way with a satisfying crunch, and the inside is soft, almost fluffy. You chew slowly, deliberately, tasting each element. The slight tang of the yeast, the richness of the butter, the way the salt enhances everything. You swallow and take another bite, and another. Eating becomes its own meditation, the simple act of nourishing yourself, the way the body knows what it needs and finds satisfaction in receiving it. You're not thinking about anything else, not classes or homework or responsibilities, just the bread, just the butter, just this moment. When the bread is gone, you reach for an egg. You crack the shell gently, tapping it against the edge of your plate until small fractures appear. Then you peel it carefully, the shell coming away in pieces, revealing the smooth white beneath. You sprinkle a little salt on it from a small dish on the table, just a pinch, and take a bite. The maize. White is firm but not rubbery, and the yolk is perfectly cooked, just slightly soft in the very center. It's exactly right. You eat the egg slowly, and when it's gone, you sit for a moment, hands resting on either side of your plate. The hall around you is quiet. A few murmured conversations drift from other tables, but they're soft, respectful of the morning's peace. Someone coughs gently. A spoon clinks against a bowl. A chair scrapes slightly as someone shifts. These small sounds don't disturb the quiet. They're part of it, the natural sounds of people existing together in a shared space. You pour yourself tea from a pot that sits near your elbow. The pot is ceramic, white with small blue flowers painted on it, and it's warm to the touch. The liquid that comes out is dark, almost amber, and it steams as it fills your cup. The steam rises in small curls, carrying with it the scent of the tea, something floral with a hint of citrus. You add a little honey, watching as it swirls and dissolves, turning the tea sweet and golden. The spoon makes a soft clinking sound as you stir, metal against ceramic, a sound that feels like home. You lift the cup to your lips and sip. The warmth spreads through you, from your throat to your chest to your fingertips. The tea is exactly the right temperature, hot enough to warm you, but not so hot it burns. The flavor is delicate. Floral, yes, but not overpowering. Sweet, but not cloying. Comforting. You sit there for a long time, sipping your tea, watching the enchanted ceiling and the way the rain moves across it, never falling, never quite reaching you, but always there. The clouds drift slowly, imperceptibly, and occasionally a brighter patch appears where the sun is trying, unsuccessfully, to break through. Time passes. You're not sure how much. It doesn't matter. Eventually, you notice that your cup is empty. You set it down gently and look at your plate. A few crumbs remain, and you brush them into a small pile with your finger, then brush them off the edge of the plate. A small ritual of completion. You sit for a moment longer, hands wrapped around the empty cup, feeling the residual heat seep into your palms. When you finally rise, the hall has filled a little more. Not much, but enough that the quiet has shifted into something slightly more lively. Still peaceful though, still soft. The morning is advancing, but slowly, as all things do here. You leave. The corridors are brighter now. The glowing orbs have dimmed slightly, allowing the grey morning light from the windows to take over. You can see more clearly now. The textures of the stone, some rough, some smooth, some marked with centuries of wear. The weave of the tapestries, the individual threads creating pictures and patterns. The way dust motes drift lazily through the air, caught in the light, floating without purpose or destination. You have no particular destination in mind. That's the beauty of days like this. No classes, no obligations, just time, stretching out before you like an open book, its pages blank and waiting. You wander. You pass through corridors you've walked 100 times, and corridors you're still discovering. Hogwarts is vast, impossibly so, and even after all this time, it surprises you. A door you've never noticed before, a staircase that leads somewhere new, a window with a view you didn't know existed. Your feet carry you without conscious decision, following some internal compass that knows where comfort lies. You find yourself drawn to the library. It's not a conscious decision. Your feet simply take you there, turning down this corridor, and then that one, climbing a staircase, passing through a door, until suddenly you're standing before the library entrance. The library doors are open, as they always are during the day. They're tall doors, wood and glass, and through the glass, you can see the space beyond. Books, shelves, tables, light. You step inside. The library wraps around you like an embrace. The first thing that strikes you, as it always does, is the smell. Parchment, old leather, dust, ink, a little bit of wood polish. It's a smell that seems to have weight, that seems to settle on your shoulders and sink into your clothes. It's a smell that wraps around you like a blanket, familiar and safe. You stand just inside the entrance for a moment, breathing it in. The library is vast, impossibly vast. It seems too large to fit within the castle, and yet here it is. Rows upon rows of shelves, stretching up toward a ceiling lost in shadow. Tables scattered throughout, some bathed in light from tall windows, others tucked into cozy alcoves lit only by floating candles. The candles drift slowly through the air, their flames steady despite their movement, casting pools of golden light that move and shift across the floor. The silence here is different from the silence in the corridors. It's deeper, more complete, as if the books themselves absorb sound, swallowing it into their pages. Even your footsteps, which echoed softly in the hallway, become muted here, hushed by the sheer presence of so much knowledge, so many stories. You can see Madame Pince at her desk near the entrance. She sits perfectly still, perfectly straight, her quill moving across parchment with small, precise strokes. She doesn't look up as you enter. She never does, unless you need something. She knows that some people come to the library not to ask questions, but to find quiet, and she respects that. You begin to walk through the aisles. The shelves rise on either side of you like canyon walls, packed tight with books of every size and color. Tall books bound in brown leather, their spines cracked with age. Small books in red cloth, their titles stamped in gold. Books so old their covers have faded to a uniform grey. Books so new they still smell of fresh ink and glue. Your fingers trail along the spines as you pass. Each one is different. Some are smooth as glass, polished by centuries, of hands touching them in this exact same way. Some are rough, the leather textured like bark. Some are cloth, soft and yielding. Some are embossed with patterns you can feel beneath your fingertips. Ridges and valleys, letters and symbols, designs both simple and complex. You don't pull any books out, not yet. You're just browsing, wandering, letting the titles wash over you like water. Advanced Transfiguration Theory, The Life and Lies of Albus Dumbledore, Moster Potente Potions, A History of Magic, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, The Tales of Beedle the Bard, 1,000 Magical Herbs and Fungi. The titles blur together, becoming a kind of poetry, a list of possibilities, of worlds contained within covers, waiting to be opened. You turn down another aisle. This one is dimmer, farther from the windows. The floating candles here cast dancing shadows on the spines, making the titles difficult to read. But that's all right. You're not looking for anything specific. You're just walking, just being present in this space that feels, somehow, both infinite and intimate. You can hear sounds, very faintly. The scratch of Madame Pince's quill, the soft rustle of pages, turning somewhere deeper in the library. Someone else is here, but you can't see them. the barely audible creak of the building settling, adjusting to the weight of all these books, all this knowledge. And underneath it all, the rain, always the rain. Even here you can hear it, muted and distant, a gentle percussion that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere. It taps against the high windows and runs down the gutters and soaks into the stones, and the sound of it becomes part of the library itself, part of the atmosphere of quiet contemplation. You pause at a section labeled Magical Creatures. The books here are thicker, heavier, their spines reinforced with metal corners to support their weight. You've spent hours in this section before, lost in descriptions of phoenixes and kelpies and niflers, studying illustrations that sometimes move on the pages, the creatures blinking or stretching or preening their feathers. You remember one book in particular, with a drawing of a bowtruckle that would wave at you whenever you opened to its page. Such a small thing, such a simple bit of magic, but it had delighted you. It still does, when you think of it. But today, you keep walking. You're drawn deeper into the library, into sections you visited less often, past arithmancy texts filled with numbers and symbols, past ancient runes primers with their strange alphabets, past volumes on magical theory so dense and complex you're not sure anyone truly understands them. And then you find yourself in a quieter section. Poetry, fiction, books written not to teach but to transport. You slow your pace even further. These books feel different. Their spines are less uniform, their sizes more varied. Some are slim volumes, barely thicker than pamphlets. Others are massive tomes that would require 2 hands to lift. The titles are softer here, more lyrical. Songs of the Selkie, Moonlight and Memory, the collected works of Celestina Warbeck, Tales from the Hollow Hills. You let your hand drift along the spines, feeling each one pass beneath your fingers. Smooth, rough, smooth, rough. A rhythm all its own. And then one calls to you. You're not sure how you know. It's not that it's brighter than the others, or that it hums with magic, or that your hand tingles when it touches it. It's just right. This one, now. You pull it from the shelf. It's a medium-sized book bound in dark green cloth that's soft and slightly worn. The title is embossed in silver on the spine and cover. Verses for Quiet Evenings. No author listed. Just the title, simple and inviting. You hold it in both hands, feeling its weight. Not heavy, but substantial, real. You open the cover carefully, and the pages whisper as they separate. The paper is thick, slightly textured, with a faint cream tint that's easier on the eyes than stark white. The words are printed in a delicate serif font, each line spaced generously from the next, creating an openness, a breathability on each page. You flip through slowly, not reading yet, just looking, watching the pages turn, seeing snippets of poems, a word here, a phrase there, the corner of an illustration, delicate line work depicting a tree or a bird or a window with rain streaming down it. You close the book gently and continue walking, now with purpose. You're looking for a place to sit, a place to read, a place to simply be with this book you've chosen. And you find it. Near one of the tall windows, tucked between 2 shelves, there's a small table. It's just big enough for 1 or 2 people, made of dark wood that's been polished smooth by years of use. A single chair sits before it, high-backed and sturdy, with a cushion on the seat that's been worn into just the right shape. And the light here is perfect. The window beside the table is tall and arched. It's glass clear, except for a border of stained glass around the edges. Deep blues and greens that cast small pools of color on the table's surface. Rain streaks down the glass, and beyond it, you can see the ground stretching away, misty and indistinct. The grey light that filters through is soft and even, perfect for reading. You approach the table and set the book down gently. It makes a soft sound, cloth on wood, barely audible. You pull out the chair and it scrapes slightly, a whisper of wood on stone. You sit. The chair is exactly right. Not too hard, not too soft. The cushion supports you just enough. The back is angled perfectly, so you can sit upright without strain. You settle into it, adjusting slightly, finding the position that feels most natural. Before you, the table is empty except for your book. The surface is clean, smooth, with just a few small marks. Scratches, water rings, the ghosts of students past who sat here before you. You trace one with your finger, a small crescent-shaped mark near the edge. You wonder who made it, when, what they were reading, if they found what they were looking for. You place your hands flat on the table for a moment, feeling the cool wood against your palms. Then you reach for the book. You open it slowly, carefully, treating it with the reverence it deserves. All books deserve reverence, you think. Each one is a world. Each one is someone's labor, someone's love, someone's attempt to capture something true and beautiful and worth preserving. The first page is blank, except for a small inscription in faded ink. For those who seek solace in words. You smile slightly. How fitting. You turn the page. The first poem is called Morning Rain. How appropriate, you think. You begin to read. The words flow like the rain itself, gentle, constant, each line building on the last, creating an image, a feeling, a moment captured in language. The poem speaks of waking to rain, of lying in bed and listening, of the way the world feels softer when wrapped in water. It speaks of gratitude for small things, dry clothes, warm tea, a roof overhead. You read slowly, not rushing, not trying to absorb every word or analyze every metaphor, just reading, letting the words flow over you like water. Some of them stick, most don't. That's all right. When you reach the end of the poem, you sit for a moment before turning the page. You let the words settle, let them sink in, let them become part of the quiet. Then you continue. The next poem is about a library. It describes the smell of old books, the feel of pages beneath fingers, the weight of knowledge pressed between covers. It speaks of finding refuge among shelves, of the comfort that comes from being surrounded by stories. You feel seen by this poem, understood. You read it twice, then a third time. Each reading reveals something new, a word you missed, a phrase that resonates differently, the rhythm of the lines, the way they flow and pause and flow again. Outside, the rain continues. Inside, the library remains quiet. Time passes in a way that feels both very slow and strangely outside of time altogether. You could be sitting here for minutes or hours. There's no way to know, and no need to know. Time doesn't matter here. You turn another page, and another, and another. Some poems you read carefully, word by word. Others you skim, your eyes dancing across the lines, picking up images and feelings without processing every detail. Some poems speak to you immediately, resonating with something deep inside. Others remain closed, their meanings elusive, and you move past them without concern. Not every poem is for every person. Not every moment is right for every word. You come across a poem about autumn, about the way leaves turn and fall, about the shortening of days and the cooling of air, about the melancholy that comes with change, but also the beauty, the acceptance, the understanding that all things must shift and transform, that nothing stays the same, and that this is not something to fear, but something to embrace. The poem makes you think of the grounds outside, of the way the trees must look right now, their leaves turning gold and orange and red, falling slowly to carpet the grass, of the way the air smells different in autumn, crisp and slightly sweet, tinged with the scent of decay that isn't unpleasant, but earthy, honest, real. You set the book down for a moment and look out the window. From here, you can see one of the courtyards. Stone walls on 3 sides, open to the sky. Rain falls into it steadily, collecting in a shallow fountain at the center. There are no people there now, too wet, too cold, but you can imagine it in better weather, filled with students sitting on benches, studying or chatting, or simply enjoying the sun. Now, though, it belongs to the rain, and to you, watching from your warm, dry perch. You watch the rain for a long time, the way it falls, the way it splashes when it hits stone, the way it creates ripples in the fountain, expanding and overlapping, creating patterns that shift and change with every drop. It's mesmerizing in its randomness. No 2 moments are the same, and yet it's all part of the same pattern, the same eternal cycle of water falling and rising and falling again. A bird lands on the edge of the fountain, small, brown, ordinary. It hops along the rim, dips its head to drink, shakes droplets from its feathers. Then it's gone, flying away into the mist, leaving only a small splash where it departed. You smile slightly and turn back to your book. You continue reading. Poem after poem. Some short, just a few lines. Others longer, spanning multiple pages. Some rhyme, others don't. Some have clear meanings. Others are abstract, dreamlike, requiring you to simply feel rather than understand. One poem speaks of candlelight, of the way it flickers and dances, of the shadows it casts, of the comfort of a small flame in darkness. You think of the floating candles here in the library, their steady flames, their gentle golden glow. The poem says that candlelight is company, that it's a small warmth against the vastness of night, a reminder that even in darkness there is light. Another poem describes a castle, not Hogwarts specifically, but it could be. It speaks of stone and age, of corridors that wind and twist, of staircases that lead to unexpected places. It describes the feeling of being held by ancient walls, of being part of something larger and older than yourself, of finding home in a place that has sheltered countless others before you. The words resonate deeply. This castle is your home now. These stones have held you. These corridors have witnessed your growth. You've walked these paths in joy and in sorrow, in excitement and in fear. And through it all, the castle has remained constant. unchanging, eternal. You realize, suddenly, that you've stopped reading. Your eyes are on the page, but you're not seeing the words anymore. Your mind has drifted somewhere soft and far away, a place without thoughts, just the gentle rhythm of your own breathing, the sound of rain, the feeling of being completely, utterly present. You blink slowly and close the book gently. You set it on the table before you and place your hands on top of it, feeling the soft cloth of its cover beneath your palms. You sit like that for a while, simply existing, simply being. The library around you continues its quiet existence. The rain continues outside. The candles continue to drift. Time continues to move in its strange, liquid way. You're not sure how long you sit there. Long enough that your tea from breakfast is a distant memory. Long enough that you notice, when you shift slightly, a small stiffness in your shoulders from sitting still. Long enough that the light from the window has changed, imperceptibly but noticeably, from early morning grey to late morning grey. But you're in no rush to move. There's nowhere you need to be, nothing you need to do. You can sit here as long as you like, surrounded by books and silence and the steady sound of rain. Eventually, though, something stirs within you. Not restlessness exactly, just a gentle sense that perhaps it's time to move, to see something else, to feel the air change around you. You rise slowly, pushing the chair back carefully so it doesn't scrape too loudly. You take the book in your hands, holding it for a moment, considering. You could check it out, take it with you, read more later. But somehow, that doesn't feel right. This book belongs here, in this library, waiting for the next person who needs it. You've had your time with it, and that's enough. You carry it back through the aisles, retracing your steps until you find the section where you discovered it. You slide it back into its place on the shelf, between two other poetry collections. It fits perfectly, as if it had never left. As if your encounter with it was just a momentary intersection of paths, yours and the book's, both of you traveling through time and space in your own ways. You stand there for a moment, your hands still resting on the spine of the book, saying a kind of silent goodbye. Then you let go and turn away. You make your way back through the library, past the shelves and the tables, and the students you still can't quite see, but can hear rustling pages somewhere in the depths. Past Madame Pince, who still sits at her desk, who still doesn't look up, who still makes those small, precise marks with her quill. You reach the doors and step through. The corridor beyond feels different after the library's stillness. Bigger, more open. The sounds are clearer here, footsteps in the distance, the murmur of conversation, the creak of the castle settling. It's still quiet, but it's a different kind of quiet, an active quiet rather than a contemplative one. You stand for a moment, adjusting, reorienting yourself. Then you begin to walk, following the corridor without a specific destination. Your feet will take you where you need to go. They always do. You pass windows that look out over different views. The lake in the distance, grey and vast. The Quidditch pitch, empty and rain-soaked. The edge of the forbidden forest, dark even in daylight. Each window is a painting, a frame around a piece of the world outside. You descend a staircase, this one narrower than the first. The steps are worn in the center, creating small hollows where countless feet have trod over countless years. The railing is iron, cold, and slightly damp, and you let your hand trail along it as you descend, feeling the smooth metal, the occasional rough spot where rust has formed, and been scrubbed away. At the bottom, you find yourself in a corridor you don't immediately recognize. It's narrower here, the ceiling lower. The stones are darker, older perhaps. Fewer windows mean less light, and the glowing orbs here burn a little brighter to compensate. You walk slowly, curiously, letting the unfamiliarity guide you rather than unsettle you. Hogwarts is full of corridors like this, passages you've never explored, corners you've never turned. The castle reveals itself gradually, offering new discoveries to those patient enough to wander without purpose. The air here smells different, earthier. You catch a hint of something green and growing, something damp and alive. It reminds you of the greenhouses, though you're nowhere near them. Perhaps there's a courtyard nearby, open to the rain. Or perhaps the smell simply seeps up through the stones themselves, the ancient rocks remembering the earth they came from. You pass a door you've never noticed before. It's small, wooden, unremarkable except for the fact that you're certain you've never seen it. The handle is brass, tarnished green with age. You pause, considering. Should you try it? See where it leads? But no, not today. Today is not a day for discoveries of that kind. Today is a day for familiar comforts, for known pleasures, for the gentle repetition of routines that soothe rather than excite. The door can wait. It will still be here tomorrow, or next week, or whenever curiosity overtakes contentment. You continue walking. The corridor curves gently, and as you round the bend, you begin to hear something. Music. Very faint, very distant, but unmistakably music. Someone is playing an instrument somewhere in the castle. A piano, perhaps, or maybe a harp. The notes drift through the air like leaves on water, scattered and soft, creating a melody that's more feeling than form. You can't tell where it's coming from. The sound seems to come from everywhere and nowhere, bouncing off the stones, carried by the drafts that move through the castle's hidden spaces. But it doesn't matter where it originates. What matters is that it's there, adding another layer to the morning's quiet symphony. The rain, the footsteps, the breathing, the music, all of it blending together into something that isn't quite silence, but isn't quite sound either. Something in between, something perfect. You find yourself following the sound, not deliberately, but just moving toward where it seems louder. Through another corridor, up a short flight of stairs, past a tapestry of a forest scene where the embroidered trees seem to sway very gently, though that might be a trick of the light. The music grows slightly clearer. You can make out individual notes now, can hear the way they rise and fall, creating patterns that repeat and vary, building something beautiful from simple elements. It's a melancholy melody, but not sad. Wistful, perhaps. Nostalgic. The kind of music that makes you think of memories you're not sure you have, feelings you can't quite name. You climb another staircase, this one winding and tight, clearly built into a tower. The steps are stone, worn smooth, and they spiral up and up. You take them slowly, one hand on the wall for balance, feeling the cool stone beneath your palm. The music is louder now, definitely a piano. The notes echo in the stairwell, creating harmonies with themselves, layering and building until the simple melody becomes something richer, more complex. But as you climb higher, you decide you don't actually want to find the source. Some mysteries are better left intact. Some beauty is better experienced at a distance, where it can remain perfect and unblemished by reality. So when you reach a landing with a door that clearly leads toward the music, you pause, listen for a long moment, and then continue up the stairs instead, leaving the pianist to their private practice, their solitary creation. The stairs eventually end at another door, small and arched. You push it open and step through. You're on a covered walkway, open on one side to the elements but protected by a roof of ancient tiles. The rain falls just beyond the stone railing, creating a curtain of water that blurs the view but doesn't obscure it entirely. You can see the grounds stretched below, the paths winding through gardens, the distant shimmer of the lake. The walkway is narrow, barely wide enough for two people to pass. The floor is stone, dark with moisture from the rain that occasionally blows in when the wind shifts. You walk slowly, staying close to the inner wall, away from the weather, but close enough to feel its presence. This walkway connects two towers, you realize, a bridge suspended in air, allowing passage from one part of the castle to another without descending all the way down and climbing back up. It's both practical and beautiful, functional and somehow romantic, this stone path floating above the world. You reach the midpoint and stop. Here, the view is best. You can see so much from this vantage point. The sprawling castle with its many towers and spires. The grounds with their careful landscaping now softened by rain. The lake, vast and dark. The mountains in the distance, their peaks lost in cloud. And everywhere, the rain, turning the world into something softer, gentler, more dreamlike. You stand with your hands on the stone railing, feeling the cold seep through your palms, feeling the occasional mist of rain on your face when the wind gusts just right. It's cold, yes, but not unpleasantly so. The cold feels good after the warmth of the castle interior. It wakes you up a little, reminds you that you're alive, that you're here, that this moment is real. You watch a bird fly past below you, moving swiftly through the rain as if it doesn't bother it at all. Perhaps it doesn't. Perhaps for birds, rain is just another kind of air, another medium to move through, no more troublesome than wind or snow or sunshine. You watch the rain create patterns on the lake's surface, watch the mist rise and drift, watch the way the light, what little there is, catches on wet leaves and shining stones. You watch without thinking, without analyzing, without trying to capture or remember. You simply watch, and in watching, you become part of what you're watching, connected to it all in some indefinable way. Time passes. How much, you don't know. Enough that you start to feel the cold more acutely. Enough that your fingers begin to stiffen slightly on the stone railing. Enough that when you finally step back, intending to continue across the walkway, you notice that you're shivering just a little. Time to go back inside. Time to find warmth again. You complete your crossing of the walkway and step through the door at the far end. Immediately, the warmth of the castle interior embraces you. You didn't realize how cold you'd gotten until now, until the contrast makes itself known. You stand just inside the door for a moment, letting your body adjust, feeling sensation return to your fingertips, feeling the shivering gradually subside. This tower is different from the one you left, quieter, older somehow. The stones here are darker, almost black in places, and the air smells of dust and time and something else, something ancient. You begin to descend. This staircase is wider than the last, with worn grooves in the center of each step where generations of feet have passed. The walls are bare stone, no tapestries here, no paintings, just rock and shadow and the occasional flickering torch held in an iron bracket. Down and down you go, your footsteps echoing softly in the enclosed space. The temperature rises as you descend, growing warmer with each step, as if you're moving toward the heart of the castle, toward some central warmth that radiates out through the stones. You pass a window, small and narrow, more like a slit than a proper window. Through it, you can glimpse the rain still falling, but from this angle, this height, it looks different, softer, more like mist than rain. You continue down. The staircase ends in a small landing with two doors. One is large and heavy, clearly leading to a main corridor. The other is smaller, almost hidden in shadow. And when you look at it, you feel that same pull you felt toward the library earlier. This is where you're meant to go. This door. You approach it and try the handle. It turns easily, and the door swings open on well-oiled hinges, making no sound at all. Beyond is a corridor you recognize. You're near the kitchens. You can tell by the smell that now fills the air. Bread baking, something savory cooking. The warm, rich scent of food being prepared with care and attention. Your stomach responds with a small sound, reminding you that breakfast was some time ago, that the body needs fuel to continue. You follow the smell, walking slowly, letting your nose guide you. The corridor here is wider, brighter, clearly a more trafficked part of the castle. You pass students in small groups, their conversations a gentle hum that blends with all the other sounds of the castle. They pay you no mind, and you pay them no mind. Everyone is going about their day in their own way, following their own paths through this vast stone labyrinth. You reach the entrance to the great hall and pause. It's midday, or near to it. The hall is fuller now than it was at breakfast, though not crowded. Students sit in clusters along the house tables, eating lunch, chatting, studying. The enchanted ceiling still shows rain clouds, still reflects the grey day outside, but somehow it seems less gloomy now. Perhaps it's the presence of people, the warmth of bodies and conversation, the way life fills a space and transforms it. You make your way to your house table and find a seat near the middle, away from the loudest groups, but not isolated. Close enough to feel part of something, far enough to maintain your quiet. The table is laden with food, not the simple breakfast fare, but proper lunch. Soups in tureens, steam rising from them carrying scents of vegetables and herbs. Sandwiches on thick bread, filled with cheese and meat and fresh greens. Salads with bright vegetables. Roasted potatoes, golden and crisp. A pie, its crust flaky and golden, filled with something, chicken perhaps, or vegetables. You reach for a bowl and ladle soup into it. The liquid is thick, rich, a deep orange color that suggests squash or pumpkin. You bring the bowl to your face and inhale deeply. Yes, pumpkin. With other things too. Onion, cream, perhaps a hint of nutmeg or cinnamon. It smells like autumn in a bowl. It smells like comfort. You take a spoon and dip it into the soup. The first taste is warmth. Pure, simple warmth that spreads through your mouth and down your throat. And then the flavors follow. Sweet pumpkin, savory onion, the richness of cream, the gentle spice of nutmeg. It's perfectly seasoned, perfectly balanced, perfectly suited to a day like this. You eat slowly, savoring each spoonful. The soup is thick enough to cling to the spoon, but liquid enough to flow smoothly. The temperature is exactly right, hot enough to warm you, but not so hot it burns. Between spoonfuls, you pause, letting the warmth settle, letting the flavors linger. Around you, conversation ebbs and flows. You hear fragments, someone talking about an essay, someone else laughing at a joke, a third person asking to pass the salt. The voices create a tapestry of sound, human and warm and alive. You're not part of the conversations, but you're part of the scene, part of the collective experience of eating together, sharing space and time and sustenance. When your soup is finished, you set the bowl aside and reach for a sandwich. The bread is hearty, dense but not heavy, with seeds pressed into the crust. The filling is simple, cheese, thick and sharp, with slices of tomato and fresh lettuce. You pick it up and take a bite. The textures play against each other beautifully. The slight chew of the bread, the creamy smoothness of the cheese, the crisp snap of the lettuce, the soft yield of the tomato, and the flavors, the tang of the cheese, the earthiness of the bread, the bright freshness of the vegetables. Simple ingredients, simply prepared, but somehow adding up to something greater than their parts. You chew, slowly, thoroughly, giving each bite the attention it deserves. Eating becomes a meditation, a practice of presence and gratitude. Grateful for the food, grateful for the hands that prepared it, grateful for the body that can taste and digest and transform this food into energy and life. Halfway through the sandwich, you pause and reach for a goblet. It's filled with pumpkin juice, sweet and thick, cold despite the warmth of the hall. You take a sip, and the sweetness cuts through the savory flavors of the sandwich, cleansing your palate, preparing it for the next bite. You finish the sandwich slowly, then sit for a moment, hands resting on the table, feeling satisfied but not over full. The perfect amount of food, the perfect meal for a rainy afternoon. You pour yourself water from a pitcher, clear and cold, and drink deeply. The water tastes clean, pure, like it came from a mountain spring. It probably did. Hogwarts gets its water from somewhere in the mountains, you've heard. Piped down through ancient channels, filtered through layers of rock, emerging clean and perfect. You sit for a while longer, watching the hall, watching people. A group of first years are giggling over something at the far end of the table. Two older students are engaged in what looks like a serious debate, their faces earnest, their hands gesturing to emphasize points. A solitary student reads while eating, their book propped against a pitcher, completely absorbed. Everyone is living their own story. Everyone is having their own experience of this day, this meal, this moment. And yet you're all connected by being here, in this hall, under this enchanted ceiling, surrounded by these ancient stones. Eventually, you rise. Others are leaving too, their meals finished, their conversations concluded or moved to other locations. The hall is beginning to thin out, though it will fill again, for dinner, and again for breakfast tomorrow, and again in the endless cycle of meals that marks time in a place like this. You make your way out of the hall and into the corridor. The rain outside has intensified. You can hear it more clearly now, a steady roar rather than a gentle patter, It drums against the windows and rushes through the gutters and pounds on the stones of the courtyards. It's the kind of rain that feels like it might last forever, that feels like it's washing the whole world clean. You walk without purpose again, letting the afternoon unfold at its own pace. Your body feels warm from the food, slightly heavy in that pleasant way that comes after a satisfying meal. You're not tired exactly, but you feel settled, content, ready for whatever comes next, or for nothing at all. Your wandering takes you past classrooms, their doors open to reveal empty desks and clean blackboards waiting for the next lesson. Past bathrooms with their old pipes and porcelain fixtures. Past portraits whose occupants nod politely or ignore you entirely, depending on their mood and nature. You find yourself climbing again, drawn upward by some instinct you don't question. Up one staircase, then another. The stairs move occasionally. Hogwarts staircases do that. But you simply wait when they do, patient and untroubled, then continue when they settle into place. You're heading toward the greenhouses, you realize. Your feet know before your mind does. They're carrying you there, toward the warmth and humidity, toward the green growing things, toward that particular comfort that comes from being surrounded by life in its most basic, beautiful form. You exit through a side door that leads onto the grounds, stepping out from the shelter of the castle and into the rain. It's heavier than you expected. Not a downpour, not quite, but more than a drizzle. The kind of rain that soaks through clothes in minutes if you're not careful. But your robes, charmed against the weather as most wizarding clothes are, shed the water like a duck's feathers. It beads on the fabric and rolls off, leaving you dry beneath. Still, you feel the rain on your face, on your hands. The cool kiss of it against your skin, fresh and clean and alive. You tilt your face up slightly, letting it wash over you, feeling the droplets land on your forehead, your cheeks, your lips. Some people might find this unpleasant, but you don't. There's something honest about rain, something pure. The path to the greenhouses is gravel, and your feet crunch softly with each step. The sound is muted by the rain, absorbed into the greater symphony of water falling on earth. Puddles have formed in the low spots, and you step around them carefully, not out of concern for your shoes. They too are charmed against wet, but out of respect for the puddles themselves. They're temporary mirrors, reflecting the grey sky, and somehow it seems wrong to disturb them. The gardens that flank the path are beautiful in the rain. The flowers bend under the weight of water, their petals heavy and glistening. The leaves of the plants shine as if polished. Everything is more vivid, more saturated, more alive. The greens are greener, the browns are richer. Even the stones of the path seem to have more depth, more character. You walk slowly, in no hurry to reach your destination. The journey is as important as the arrival. The feeling of moving through rain, through air thick with moisture, through a world transformed by water. Your breath mingles with the mist. Your footsteps mark the earth. You are part of this landscape, this moment, this endless falling rain. A bird calls from somewhere in the gardens. You can't see it, but you can hear it. A clear, melodic sound that rises above the rain. Another bird answers from a different direction. They're having a conversation, these birds, unbothered by the weather, continuing their lives as if the rain is nothing unusual. which for them, it probably isn't. You reach the greenhouses. There are several of them arranged in a row, each one dedicated to different plants with different needs. Some are for common plants, the kind used in first-year herbology. Others are for more exotic species, more dangerous, or more delicate, or simply more rare. You've been in most of them at one time or another, for classes, or for independent study, or simply because you wanted to be near growing things. Today, you're drawn to Greenhouse 3. It's one of the larger ones, with high ceilings and walls of glass that let in maximum light even on cloudy days like this. The door is heavy but well balanced, and it opens smoothly when you pull the handle. The warmth hits you immediately. It's not just warmer inside, it's hot, humid. The air is thick and heavy, saturated with moisture, rich with the smell of soil and growing things. It's almost tropical, the atmosphere inside this glass building in the Scottish Highlands. Steam rises from the soil in some beds. Water drips from the ceiling where condensation has gathered. Everything is wet and green and alive. You step inside and close the door behind you, sealing out the cool rain and sealing in the jungle warmth. For a moment, you just stand there, adjusting. Your body needs time to acclimate to the temperature change. Your lungs need to learn how to breathe this heavier air. Your eyes need to adjust to the different quality of light, filtered through wet glass, diffused by mist, tinted green by the sheer abundance of leaves. Then you begin to walk. The greenhouse is arranged with tables running down the center and beds along the walls. The tables hold potted plants of various sizes, each one labeled with a small wooden marker. The beds contain larger plants, things that need more room to spread their roots, to grow tall or wide or both. You recognize some of the plants from your classes. Venomous tentacula in one corner, its vines carefully staked to keep it from reaching towards passing students. Bouncing bulbs on a table near the door, their purple bulbs quivering slightly, even though no one has touched them. Flutterby bush with its leaves that flutter like small wings, though in this still, humid air, they barely move. But there are others you don't recognize, plants from far away or from long ago, collected and tended by generations of herbology professors. A tall plant with silver leaves that seem to glow faintly. A low, spreading thing with flowers so dark purple they're almost black. Something that looks like a fern, but whose fronds curl in impossible spirals. You walk slowly between the tables, looking at each plant, acknowledging it. Some people might think plants can't sense when they're being observed, but you're not so sure. They respond to light and touch and sound. Why not to attention? Why not to the simple act of being seen? You pause at a table holding seedlings. They're tiny, just beginning to emerge from the soil. Some have only 2 leaves, the first cotyledons that appear before the true leaves develop. Others are slightly further along, with small stems and the suggestion of what they'll become. You lean down to look at them more closely. They're so delicate, so vulnerable, just small green things pushing up through dark soil, reaching toward light, toward life. And yet there's such strength in them too, such determination. They break through the soil that weighs them down. They unfurl leaves that were compressed into seeds, smaller than your fingernail. They begin the slow, patient work of photosynthesis, of turning sunlight and water and air into growth and life. You watch one seedling that's in the process of emerging. The stem has broken through, arcing up out of the soil, and at its tip, you can see the folded leaves, still closed, still waiting for the right moment to open. As you watch, and you're not sure if you're imagining it or if it's real, the leaves seem to shift slightly, to unfold just a tiny fraction more. It's happening, right now, as you watch. This plant is growing, changing, becoming, and you're here to witness it. You stay very still, barely breathing, not wanting to disturb this small miracle. The greenhouse is quiet around you. The rain on the glass roof is a constant patter, but it's background now, a white noise that fades into nothing. All your attention is on this seedling, on its slow, patient emergence into the world. And yes, there, the leaves definitely move. They unfurl just a little more, revealing a glimpse of the pale green inside. It's one of the slowest things you've ever seen, slower even than the minute hand of a clock, but it's also one of the most beautiful. You're not sure how long you stand there, long enough that your legs begin to ache, long enough that a drop of condensation forms on the glass above you and falls, landing on your shoulder with a soft plop. Long enough that the seedling's leaves open noticeably more, spreading toward the light. Finally, you straighten up slowly, your back stiff from bending. You take a breath of the thick, humid air and move on. You walk deeper into the greenhouse, past tables and beds, past plants both familiar and strange. You trail your fingers along the edge of a table, feeling the damp wood, the way it's swollen slightly from the constant moisture. You brush your hand against a large leaf, feeling its surface, smooth on top, slightly fuzzy underneath, with prominent veins you can trace with your fingertip. Near the back of the greenhouse, there's a small area that's been arranged almost like a sitting room. A bench sits against the wall, wooden and simple but sturdy. A small table beside it holds a watering can and some gardening tools. On the wall, someone has hung a few shelves, and on these shelves sit several small potted plants, personal projects perhaps, or plants that need special attention. You sit down on the bench. It's positioned perfectly. From here, you can see most of the greenhouse spread out before you. The tables with their potted plants, the beds with their larger specimens, the glass walls beyond which rain continues to fall. You can see everything, but you're tucked away slightly, sheltered, separate. You settle back against the wall and simply sit. The warmth of the greenhouse soaks into you, into your bones, into your muscles. The humidity makes your skin feel soft, dewy. The smell of earth and growing things fills your lungs with each breath. This is a good place, you think. A safe place. A place where life thrives despite the weather, despite the season, despite everything. You close your eyes for a moment, just feeling it all. The warmth, the moisture in the air, the bench beneath you, solid and real. The sound of the rain, constant and soothing. The faint drip of water from the ceiling, creating a secondary rhythm. The occasional rustle as a plant moves in an imperceptible draft. Time becomes very soft here, very gentle. It doesn't press or rush or demand. It simply flows like honey, like the light through the glass, like growth itself, slow and patient and inevitable. You might doze, you're not sure. The line between waking and sleeping becomes blurred in this warm green cocoon. But whether you sleep or simply rest, when you eventually open your eyes, you feel renewed, not energized exactly, just more present, more yourself. You sit for a while longer, not ready to leave yet. You watch the plants around you, the way they simply exist, simply grow, simply are. There's no anxiety in a plant, no worry about the future or regret about the past, just the eternal now, the constant reaching toward light and water and nutrients, just being alive and doing what living things do, persisting, growing, becoming more. Eventually, you notice someone else has entered the greenhouse. You hear the door open and close, hear footsteps on the stone floor. You can't see who it is from where you're sitting, but you hear them moving around, the soft sounds of someone working, a pot being moved, water being poured, the rustle of leaves as they're examined or pruned or simply touched. The presence of another person doesn't disturb the peace. If anything, it enhances it. You're both here, in this space, doing your own things, respecting each other's solitude, while sharing the greater solitude of the greenhouse itself. It's a comfortable coexistence, requiring nothing, offering everything. After a time, the other person leaves. You hear the door open and close again, hear the brief intrusion of rain sounds from outside, before the door seals shut once more. And then you're alone again, or as alone as one can be in a place full of living things. You rise from the bench slowly, your body reluctant to move after sitting still for so long. You stretch gently, feeling your spine lengthen, your shoulders roll back, your neck release tension you didn't know you were holding. Before you leave, you walk once more through the greenhouse, saying a kind of silent farewell to the plants, to the seedlings still slowly emerging, to the large, established plants with their spreading leaves and strong stems, to the exotic specimens from far away, to the common ones that are no less beautiful for being familiar. You pause at the bouncing bulbs and, on impulse, tap one gently with your finger. It bounces enthusiastically, its purple surface gleaming, and you smile slightly at its simple joy in being what it is. Then you make your way to the door. When you open it, the temperature change is even more dramatic than when you entered. The cool, rain-washed air rushes in, and the humid warmth rushes out, the two meeting in a visible swirl of mist. You step through quickly to minimize the exchange and close the door behind you. Outside, the rain is lighter now, still falling, but gently, softly, the kind of rain that might continue for hours or might stop at any moment. The kind of rain that doesn't make you want to seek shelter, but invites you to walk, to wander, to explore. You follow the path away from the greenhouses, but instead of heading back to the castle, you turn toward the lake. The ground here is less manicured, more wild. The path becomes dirt rather than gravel, muddy now from the rain. Your charmed shoes keep your feet dry, but you can feel the give of the earth beneath you, the way it yields and springs back with each step. It's a different sensation than walking on stone, more organic, more connected to the living earth. The vegetation on either side of the path is thick, bushes and ferns and tall grasses, all bending under the weight of water, all shining with rain. Occasionally, you brush against something, and a shower of droplets falls on you, cold and sudden and somehow delightful. You can hear the lake before you see it, the sound of water on water, rain falling on the vast surface, creating a sound that's almost like static, like white noise, constant and all-encompassing. And then you emerge from the vegetation onto the shore. The black lake spreads before you, vast and dark and mysterious. Its surface is alive with rain, dimpled and rippling, reflecting the grey sky in 1,000 shifting fragments. Mist rises from it in places, drifting lazily across the water, obscuring and revealing, creating an atmosphere of mystery and depth. You stand at the water's edge, as close as you can get without actually entering the lake, and you simply look. The lake is ancient, older than the castle, older than magic itself, perhaps. It was here before wizards came to this valley, before the founders built their school, before any of the history you know unfolded. It will be here after too, after you, after Hogwarts, after everything. The lake endures. There's something both humbling and comforting about that, about standing before something so vast and so old, and knowing that your presence here is just a moment, just a blink, just a tiny ripple in time that will fade and be forgotten. It puts things in perspective. It reminds you that you're part of something much larger than yourself. You walk along the shore, your feet sometimes on mud, sometimes on grass, sometimes on the smooth stones that line parts of the bank. The rain continues to fall, gentle and steady. Your clothes shed the water, but your face and hands are wet now, your hair heavy with moisture. You don't mind. You're part of the rain now, part of this landscape, part of this moment of water and earth and air coming together. You find a large, flat rock near the water's edge and sit down on it. The stone is cold, even through your robes, but it's solid, grounding. You sit cross-legged, facing the lake, and you simply be. Time passes. The rain continues. The lake accepts the rain without complaint, without resistance. It simply takes what comes, absorbing the water, becoming slightly more than it was, endlessly receiving. You watch the mist drift. You watch the ripples spread. You watch a piece of driftwood float past, carried by currents you can't see. You watch, and in watching, you empty yourself of thought, of worry, of everything except this moment, this place, this now. Somewhere far out on the lake, something breaks the surface, a tentacle perhaps, the giant squid that lives in the depths, or maybe just a large fish, or nothing at all, just a wave or a trick of the light. You watch the spot where it appeared, but nothing else happens. Whatever it was has returned to the deep. The castle looms behind you. You can feel its presence even without turning around. That massive structure of stone and magic. It feels protective, like it's watching over you as you sit here by the water. The rain begins to ease, becoming even softer, almost a mist now. The droplets are so fine, they seem to hang in the air rather than fall, suspended between sky and earth. The light changes subtly, shifting from flat grey to something slightly warmer, as if somewhere, beyond the clouds, the sun is trying to break through, not succeeding, but making the attempt. You remain on your rock, watching this transformation. The lake's surface calms slightly as the rain gentles. The ripples become smaller, more delicate. The sound changes too, from the steady patter to something softer, more like breathing, like the lake itself is sighing. You think about nothing in particular, or perhaps you think about everything, but in a way that isn't quite thinking, more like allowing thoughts to drift through your mind like the mist drifts across the water. Thoughts without weight, without consequence, without the need to be examined or understood. Just thoughts, coming and going, as natural as breathing. After a time, and who can say how much time, here by this timeless water, you feel the cold beginning to seep through your robes, through the charm that keeps you dry, but doesn't entirely keep you warm. It's a gentle cold, not unpleasant yet, but noticeable. A reminder that bodies have needs, that staying still in the rain, even gentle rain, eventually requires a response. You stand slowly, your muscles stiff from sitting still. You stretch again, more thoroughly this time, reaching your arms above your head, arcing your back, feeling the pull in your spine, the release in your shoulders. It feels good to move after being still, good to remind your body that it can move, that it's capable and strong and alive. You take one last long look at the lake, at the mist, at the far shore barely visible through the haze, at the mountains beyond, their peaks lost in cloud, at the water itself, dark and deep and full of secrets. You don't say goodbye. There's no need. You'll be back. The lake will be here. This is not an ending, but a pause, a comma in an ongoing conversation between you and this place. You turn and begin to walk back toward the castle. The path is familiar now, even though you walked it only once before today. Your feet remember. Your body remembers. The castle pulls you like gravity, like home, and you follow without resistance. As you walk, you notice things you missed on the way down. A particular tree with bark that spirals around the trunk. A patch of mushrooms growing in a circle near the path, their caps bright red with white spots. Fairy ring mushrooms, poisonous but beautiful. A bird's nest in a bush, empty now, its construction intricate and perfect, woven from twigs and grass and spider silk. The world is full of such small wonders. You could walk the same path 1,000 times and see something new each time, if you looked, if you paid attention, if you moved slowly enough to notice. The castle grows larger as you approach. Its windows glow warmly from within. Candles and fires and the general luminescence of a place full of life. It looks inviting, welcoming, like it's been waiting for you to return. You reach a side entrance and step inside. The warmth envelops you immediately, and the contrast is so stark that you gasp slightly. You didn't realize how cold you'd gotten, sitting by the lake, walking through the rain. But now, back in the castle's embrace, you feel the chill leaving your skin, feel warmth returning to your fingers and toes, feel your body relaxing in relief. You stand in the entrance for a moment, dripping slightly despite the charms on your clothes. Your face is wet, your hands are wet, your hair drips water onto your shoulders. But it's good water, clean water, rain from the sky that has washed you as it's washed everything else. You make your way through the corridors, heading generally upward and inward toward the heart of the castle where your common room waits. You pass a bathroom and decide to stop in. The bathroom is old-fashioned and grand, with high ceilings and large mirrors in ornate frames. The sinks are white porcelain, deep and wide, with brass taps that have been polished to a shine. You approach one and turn on the water. It runs hot almost immediately, steam rising as it fills the basin. You cup your hands and splash the warm water on your face, once, twice, 3 times. The warmth feels wonderful against your cold skin. You reach for a towel from the neat stack beside the sink. They're white and fluffy, freshly cleaned by house elf magic, and dry your face slowly, feeling the soft fabric against your skin. You look at yourself in the mirror. Your cheeks are flushed from the cold and the warmth. Your hair is damp and slightly disheveled. Your eyes are bright, clear, present. You look alive. Fully, completely alive. Like someone who has spent a day doing exactly what they were meant to do, even if that was nothing in particular. You smile at your reflection, just slightly, and your reflection smiles back. After drying your hands thoroughly, you leave the bathroom and continue on your way. The corridors here are busier now. It's late afternoon, and students are moving between activities, heading to the library, or the common rooms, or simply wandering as you have been. You join the flow, part of the collective movement of the castle's inhabitants through its stone arteries. You reach your common room and speak the password. It changes weekly, but you always remember it, have never once forgotten, despite your tendency to forget so many other things. The entrance opens, and you step through into warmth and golden light and the general atmosphere of home. The common room is moderately busy. Some students study at tables, their books and parchments spread before them. Others sit in armchairs by the fire, talking quietly or reading or simply staring into the flames. A group plays a game in one corner, wizard's chess from the sound of it, with the pieces shouting instructions and insults in their tiny voices. You make your way to the fireplace. The fire burning there is perfect. Not too large, not too small, not roaring, but substantial, steady, throwing heat and light in equal measure. The wood. Oak, perhaps, or ash, crackles occasionally, sending up small sparks that die before reaching the chimney. The logs glow red at their cores, white ash forming at their edges, the slow transformation of solid wood into heat and light, and eventually into ash and memory. You find your favorite chair. It's not officially yours, of course. No chair in a common room belongs to any individual. But you've sat in this chair so many times, have curled up in it so often, that it's molded itself to you or you to it, and it feels like yours in the way that matters. You sink into it. The cushions are deep and soft, worn in all the right places. The arms are wide enough to rest your elbows comfortably. The back is high enough to support your head if you lean back. It's upholstered in fabric that's slightly rough, durable, warm to the touch. The color has faded over the years from whatever bright shade it once was to something more subtle, more comfortable to look at. You pull your legs up, tucking them beneath you, and settle in. The fire warms your face and hands. The chair cradles your body. The sounds of the common room, the quiet conversations, the scratch of quills on parchment, the crackle of the fire, the distant shouts of the chess pieces, create a cocoon of normalcy, of safety, of home. You simply sit for a while, doing nothing, thinking nothing, just existing in this moment of complete comfort. Your body is warm now, fully warm, the chill from the lake entirely gone. Your clothes have dried completely, thanks to their charms and the heat of the fire. Your hair is still slightly damp, but drying, and you can feel it curling a little as it does, the way it always does. A house elf appears beside your chair. They do that, materializing with a soft pop of displaced air. This one is small even for a house elf, with enormous eyes and ears that stick out at angles. It's carrying a tray, and on the tray is a cup of tea and a small plate of biscuits. For you, the elf says in a high, soft voice, you are looking cold. You smile and thank the elf, who beams with pleasure and disappears with another soft pop. You hadn't asked for tea, hadn't even thought about tea, but now that it's here, you realize it's exactly what you wanted. The house elves always know. Somehow, they always know. You pick up the cup, wrapping both hands around it, feeling its warmth. The tea is pale, golden brown, and when you bring it to your nose, you smell chamomile and honey and something else, something floral but subtle. You take a sip. It's perfect. The temperature is exactly right. Hot, but not scalding. The flavor is delicate and soothing, sweet without being cloying. The honey has dissolved completely, leaving no grittiness, just smooth sweetness. The chamomile is calming, its gentle flavor wrapping around your tongue and throat like a soft blanket. You take another sip, and another. Between sips, you nibble on the biscuits. They're small, buttery, slightly sweet, with a crumbly texture that dissolves in your mouth. Simple, perfect, exactly what you need. As you eat and drink, you watch the fire. Watching fire is an ancient human activity, you think. People have been watching fires for as long as there have been people. It's hardwired into something deep in the brain, this fascination with flames. The way they dance and shift, never the same twice, always moving, always changing, endlessly fascinating. You watch the way the flames curl around the logs, the way they reach upward, seeking fuel and air. You watch the way the wood blackens and cracks, the way the bark peels away, the way the solid becomes gas and light and heat. You watch the coals form, glowing with internal fire, hotter than the flames themselves. You watch the way shadows move on the walls, dancing to the fire's rhythm. Time passes. Your teacup empties slowly. The biscuits disappear one by one. The fire burns lower, and someone, you don't see who, adds another log, and the fire responds with renewed energy, crackling and spitting as it catches the new wood. The afternoon slides into evening. The light from the windows, what little there was on this grey day, fades completely. The common room grows darker, lit now only by candles and fire, and the soft glow of enchanted lamps. The atmosphere changes, becomes more intimate, more hushed. Conversations quiet. People begin to drift away to dinner, or to the dormitories, or to wherever else they go when evening comes. But you remain in your chair. You're not ready to move yet, not ready to leave this warm, comfortable nest you've created. So you stay, watching the fire, feeling the warmth, existing in this perfect, peaceful moment. Eventually, you realize you should probably think about dinner. Your stomach isn't demanding food. The soup at lunch, the biscuits just now, have kept it satisfied. But dinner is a routine, a rhythm, and there's comfort in routine. But not yet. Not quite yet. A few more minutes in this chair. A few more moments watching the fire. A few more breaths of this warm, wood smoke-scented air. You let your eyes close, just for a moment, just to rest them, just to feel the warmth on your face without the distraction of sight. And in the darkness behind your eyelids, you feel yourself drifting, not sleeping exactly, but not quite awake either. Somewhere in between, in that soft space where the mind wanders without direction, where thoughts become dreams, without quite being either. You drift. The fire crackles. The castle breathes. Time moves slowly, slowly, slowly. And you are safe. You are warm. You are home. After a while, you're not sure how long, you open your eyes again. The common room has emptied further. Only a handful of students remain, and they're all absorbed in their own activities, paying no attention to you. You uncurl slowly from your chair, your body protesting slightly at the movement after sitting still for so long. You stretch, feeling joints pop gently. Muscles lengthen. You roll your shoulders, rotate your neck, bend and straighten your knees. Then you make your way to the dormitory. The stairs are familiar, your feet finding each step without conscious thought. The door to the dormitory opens silently, and you step into the dim, quiet space. It's empty. Your dormitory mates are all elsewhere, at dinner, probably, or in the library, or engaged in whatever activities occupy their evenings. You have the space to yourself, and there's something luxurious about that, something special about being alone in a place that's usually shared. You move to your bed and sit on the edge of it. The mattress is firm but comfortable, the quilts piled high and inviting. You run your hand over the fabric, feeling its texture, its softness. You're not tired yet, not ready for sleep, but you're ready for quiet, for solitude, for time spent in your own company with your own thoughts. You reach for your bag and pull out a journal. It's leather-bound, brown and soft with use, filled with pages of thick parchment. You've been keeping it since you arrived at Hogwarts, filling it with thoughts and observations, small sketches, pressed flowers, snippets of poetry, whatever captures your attention or requires expression. You open it to the first blank page and reach for a quill. The quill is one of your favorites, a raven feather, long and black and perfectly balanced. The nib is sharp, but not too sharp, allowing for smooth writing without scratching. You dip it in ink, blue-black, your preferred color, and begin to write. Not about anything important, not a record of events or a list of accomplishments, just thoughts, observations. The way the rain looked on the lake, the warmth of the greenhouse, the taste of pumpkin soup, the feeling of sitting by the fire. You write slowly, taking your time with each word, each letter. Your handwriting is messy, it always has been. But it's yours, and it's legible enough, and that's all that matters. This journal is for you, not for anyone else. It doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be honest. You write for a long time, filling pages with your wandering thoughts, your observations of this gentle day. The ink flows, the quill scratches softly, and outside your window, the rain continues its patient fall. When you finally set the quill down, your hand aches slightly. A good ache, the kind that comes from work completed, from something finished. You read over what you've written, not critically but kindly, accepting the words as they are, imperfect and true. You close the journal and return it to your bag. The dormitory is still empty. You can hear distant sounds from elsewhere in the castle, voices, footsteps, the general hum of life continuing. But here, you're cocooned in silence. You begin to prepare for bed, though it's still early, though the evening has only just begun. But your body knows what it needs, and what it needs is rest. Not because you're exhausted, you haven't done anything particularly strenuous today, but because rest is its own kind of activity, its own kind of gift. You change into your night clothes, soft cotton worn smooth by many washings. You wash your face at the basin, the water cool and refreshing. You brush your teeth, the mint sharp and clean on your tongue. Small rituals, each one a step towards sleep, towards surrender, toward the gentle letting go of the day. You pull back the quilts on your bed and slide beneath them. The sheets are cool at first, then warm as your body heat fills the space. The weight of the quilts settles over you, that same gentle pressure you woke to this morning, completing the circle of the day. You lie on your back, looking up at the canopy of your four-poster bed. The fabric is dark, barely visible in the dim light. You can hear rain against the window, softer now, a whisper rather than a conversation. You think about the day, the slow, gentle unfolding of it, the lack of urgency, of obligation, of anything that needed to be other than what it was. You walked, you read, you ate, you watched rain and fire and growing things. You existed, simply existed, and that was enough. Your eyes grow heavy. You turn onto your side, curling slightly, pulling the quilts closer. The pillow beneath your head is soft, perfectly shaped by use, by all the nights you've slept here before this one. Outside, the castle settles into its nighttime rhythms. Students return from dinner, their voices echoing in the corridors before fading into common rooms and dormitories. Doors close, lights dim. The day releases its hold, allowing night to take over. You drift. Not quite asleep yet, but close. Very close. Your breathing slows. Your body relaxes completely. Your mind empties of thought, becoming quiet, becoming still, becoming open to whatever dreams may come. The rain continues. The castle breathes. The fire in the common room below burns lower, but doesn't die. And you sleep, deeply, peacefully, without dreams, or with dreams so gentle they leave no trace. You sleep the sleep of someone who has lived a day exactly as it was meant to be lived, slowly, mindfully, with attention and gratitude and acceptance. The night passes. Hours flow like water, like time itself, moving forward always but never rushing, never demanding, never anything but patient. And in your bed, wrapped in quilts, held by the castle, surrounded by stone and magic and centuries of history, you rest. You are safe. You are warm. You are home. The rain falls. The castle stands. The night embraces you, and all is well. All is well. All is well. Sleep now. Sleep deeply. Sleep peacefully. The day is done. The night is here. Tomorrow will come when it comes, bringing with it new rain, new warmth, new moments of quiet beauty. But for now, there is only this, only sleep, only rest, only the gentle darkness and the soft rain and the steady breathing of the castle around you. Sleep, 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 and dream of Hogwarts. Dream of stone corridors and candlelight. Dream of books and gardens and the vast, dark lake. Dream of all the days like this one, all the gentle mornings and peaceful afternoons and quiet evenings that await you. Dream of home, for you are home. Here, in this bed, in this castle, in this moment, you are home, and you are safe, and all is well. The rain whispers against the window. The quilts hold you close. The darkness is soft and kind. Sleep, dear one, sleep. The story of this day is complete. The circle has closed. From waking to sleeping, from morning to night, from rain to rain, the day has unfolded exactly as it should. And now there is only rest, only peace, only the gentle drift into dreams. Sleep. The castle watches over you. The rain sings you to sleep. The night holds you in its embrace. Sleep and be at peace.